So it works out. It was a great class today, wasn't it? I loved it. Good information.
Yeah, it was good. I was talking to Steve afterwards, and he's like, "Man, I thought I knew a lot about title." And then, she brought up some things that he hadn't thought about in a minute. So that's always good to have refreshers and new courses and new opinions. I thought it was great. I sent out that slide deck to everybody too.
Oh, cool.
Good
deal. Well, we probably should get started since we're 5 minutes past. Probably get some people trickling in, I assume. But yeah, I am super excited about tonight. So it seems like the last few weeks I've been saying this every time that I'm going to do it a little different this time. But I'm going to do it a little different this time. I had actually the next couple trainings planned out and what we were going to cover. Jeff and I on certain different topics, and I decided yesterday to push those two back because I really wanted everybody to kind of really get a feel for what we experienced last week and some of the things that I took away from the Shareholder Summit. So I'm going to touch on a bunch of really amazing things that I learned. I think they can make us all better agents. So I'm really excited to go through that. I don't know if it's going to be it's a different format, so I don't know if it's going to be 15 minutes or 45 minutes or what. So I'm just going to go through it. Anybody that attended anything that would like to add something, please let me know. And then next week we'll get back to our regular, training classes on a certain specific topic. But before we jump into that, I just wanted to say, let's say we got Brenton on here. Brenton put his first transaction under contract a few days ago. So I just wanted to say, great job. Well done. Yeah, you're doing awesome. And his sky slope is like tight. I mean, he nailed everything and rocked right through it and doing a great job. And Sherry, she's doing awesome. She's got a couple new lots under contract and listings, had a closing 2 weeks ago. Sherry, you're doing great. So, and
Thank you.
Marlene's working with somebody too right now. So we've got some really good action, and Nate's taking his test next, couple weeks. So good stuff.
Hey, I'll point out too, Sydney, she's got a couple things going. So her and her husband, Mitch, are actually, her first transaction is going to be a property she's buying herself. So they're buying an investment property and working through that together. So that's her first deal. But she finally made an announcement that she's been on our team for a few years, but she just got her license recently and kind of let the world know. And she already has her first referral.
That is so cool. That's so cool. That is awesome, Sydney. Congrats. We were talking about it earlier today. It's not, it's an old saying. I don't even know where I heard it or I picked it up, but it's stuck with me for years. It's not who you know or who knows you. It's who knows what you do. So don't be a secret agent, so good job, Sydney. Way to go. It's really cool.
Love it.
We've got a new agent coming on board too. We found out just a few days ago, Landon Powell with Powell Real Estate is joining the team. And I think when I talked to him a few days ago, he said he had 8 under contract right now. I mean, he's going to be a great asset to the team. He loves to, be a part of everything. So I'm sure we're going to get some really good nuggets from him as well. So
his wife just joined today as well. She just showed up in our back office.
I noticed that. That's awesome. They're going to be a really, really cool team to add a lot. So got some good stuff going on. So I'm going to jump right in. And like I said, a little bit different format. I usually don't do PowerPoints, but I kind of wanted to make it a little bit more structured so I didn't miss anything because there's so much information. So,
and while you're pulling that up, Eric, how many of you actually attended classes in the Shareholder Summit? Can I either put it in the chat or chime in? Want to see how many people actually went to classes. I know some of you did.
Can you guys,
Yeah, I
can
did
you guys see
today. I did like 3 or 4, well, a couple days worth, and really good stuff.
Nice, Eric.
can you see the shareholder in front of you?
Yep.
Awesome. So I'm just kind of rip through this because we had like 75 breakout sessions after day one. So it was so funny because I had Kim, Arlene, and Tyler, and all these people were just blowing me up saying, you got to jump over to this class. You got to see, oh, this is really awesome here. And I'm like, no, I'm not even watching that class. I was kind of trying to bounce around a little bit and catch everything. But day one was, everybody could just attend because it was just the one session. And I'm not sure why that's not working. I don't know why there it goes. Okay. So Tuesday was just, everybody could attend, but on day two, I went to the Brent Gove kickoff, and I really enjoyed some of the things that Brent Gove was talking about, because it was all about real estate growth and how we are in the right place at the right time, and there's still homes being sold. And he was talking about, like, earlier in his career, how he would have to be really creative to get business done. And he was talking about how what he would do back in the past was he would do crazy stuff that other agents weren't doing when he needed to get something done. And he called them, I brought this up earlier today, he called them gutter open houses. And he would actually do open houses on HUD homes. And if you guys know, you're not supposed to do open houses on HUD homes, right? So he would actually put 30 signs out, go find a HUD home, and he would say, open house, HUD home, open house, HUD home. And he put them all over the neighborhoods, and he actually would have agents show up at the HUD home and say, hey, you can't do that. You can't do HUD homes, open houses on HUD homes. He said, well, it's actually not an open house. I'm just sitting out front, parked in the gutter. And when somebody comes up and says they want to see it, then I show it to them. And I thought, how clever is that? And his whole point is we're going through this COVID situation and everything's so different. It's like, really be creative in generating business. And that's what I took away from that whole piece, was just, sometimes you got to be scrappy and do things a little bit different as markets change. I know Sherry, just this last week, she did an open house at one of her new construction homes, and she had 8 people stop by for her open house, but she's only allowing one person at a time. So she made us some really cool signs that says, hey, there's only one person allowed in the house at a time. So if the door's locked, that means I'm showing the house. I'll come back, and as soon as that one person left, that one prospective buyer, she'd disinfect the home and then let the next one in. And she had 8 people on a Saturday afternoon. I think it's just, sometimes we got to be a little bit creative in what we do, and make sure that we're giving people the best opportunity to come see homes or sell homes, and do some virtual tours as well. And one thing that I was thinking about too is I can't remember which class it was, someone was discussing doing virtual tours and then on a house, and then posting it to their YouTube page, and actually texting the buyer when they showed up at the house. So you actually text them their link so they can sit in their car and actually watch the video of your tour. And if they have any questions, they can just ask you while you're at the house, and then go show it to them if they like. So just being creative and inventive, I thought it was really, really interesting and really cool. Jay Kinder was right after him on Wednesday, and he was discussing kind of, the same type of thing of how we have to be innovative, and said, 5% of all 5% of the agents do 95% of the transactions. And he made a point, he said, it's not because those agents write better contracts in general. It's because they're they're marketing experts. And one point that he really made was know your business really, really well. So like know your numbers and what's working and what's not. And this really hit home to me. Is a statement that he said. Let's see, I missed it. I didn't put it down. But so he's saying, know your business and understand the metrics of it. And when he made this statement, I could not believe how perfect it was for me, because he said, if your business is coming from unpredictable sources, you will never have a predictable business. And I thought to myself, when I first started out in real estate, I went down the Tom Ferry, Mike Ferry route. I was calling FSBOs and expireds every morning for 3 hours, and I was just getting beat up for 5 months. I almost dropped out of the business because I didn't have a single transaction, closing, no buyer, nothing. I was about done. And I decided to try something a little bit different, and it led me down a path where I became more of a buyer's agent. And I was doing 3 ads in 3 different magazines, advertising 36 different homes from different agents, and I was picking up buyers like crazy. And it was very, very predictable business, because I knew if I put out this many ads and I spent this amount of money on marketing, I could split it with my lender and I could calculate, okay, I'm going to make about this much per month or have this many leads. So it was very predictable. But what happened is the market crashed, and when the market started coming back, technology changed and less people were using magazines. It started to move to an online source. So fortunately for me, I had enough SOI built up for my previous clients that I kind of switched it to more of an SOI mode. But what's really interesting about what Jay said is if your business is coming from unpredictable sources, you cannot have a predictable business. I went from having a predictable business to not as predictable because I rely more on my SOI. So it made me think of how much more I could do better to have a more predictable business, and understanding that. So on these slides too, part of the reason I did the slide PowerPoint is if you want to see the classes that these are coming from, it's right on the top. So the Shareholder Summit Wednesday kickoff is the name of the class on the YouTube channel. So I couldn't attend all of them, obviously. So if you want to watch some of these classes that I attended, they were all fantastic. Jay also talked about the 9-box. I thought this was really, really fascinating. And this is something that he's taught for a long time and shared with us. But the 9-box is based on value and skill from low, medium to high. And the top right box is the most valuable box for you as an agent, but requires the most amount of skill. And that's really what we should be trying to spend as much of our time doing, is being in that top right box, which is listing appointments, negotiating contracts. It's worth a tremendous amount per hour, right? And if you move to the bottom left box, the low value, low skill, that's where you're putting signs in, you're hanging lock boxes, and you're doing brochure delivery, and you're doing more of an hourly type of job. So it says, be really protective of your time and make sure you spend as much time doing the high skill, high value activities instead of the lower ones. And he of course said, as soon as you can get an assistant, get one, because if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant, which made a lot of sense to me. But this is kind of an interesting focus, and that's in that class. So if you want to check out that class, he goes into detail about his whole 9-box strategy, and I found it really interesting. One thing that he did mention on this part is like listings versus buyers was really fascinating. They took a poll of all of their agents and they calculated all the time spent with sellers and buyers. And your average time spent with a buyer from beginning to end, like in person, like one-on-one with a buyer, is 21 hours for an entire transaction. But when you work with a seller, your entire time face-to-face with that seller is about 3 hours. So they calculated all these numbers. So you actually spend 7 times more with a buyer, and generally you earn the same commission. So he's a big advocate of doing more listings and less buyers, just because of that time frame, or the time requirements that are involved with working with buyers. And of course we do both, but I thought it was really interesting. 7 times more the value. Day 2 was Wednesday, and I went to the Nolly Williams class because Nolly is someone that I actually have followed ever since I started with EXP. He's one of my favorite agents. He's out of Texas. And he didn't discuss this during the presentation, but I think I've said it before. One of his favorite sayings is saying, if you want to sell more real estate, just go find people to apply with your lender. And he says, my goal every month is to have 20 people apply with my lender for a mortgage loan. He says, the more people you have apply, the more buyers you have, because people that get approved for loans for houses go buy houses. So that's been his goal for a long time. And ever since I saw him for the first time about probably 10 months ago, I've followed him on Workplace and everything. And he did a full class, and it's called How to Thrive Over the Next 18 Months. And he had some really good nuggets in here about where your listings come from. He said over the years, he's discovered that listings only come from 3 buckets. One is your SOI, and we talk about our SOI all the time. And your SOI is obviously your sphere of influence, but every lead that you get, you're trying to eventually get into your SOI bucket. And, when you're looking at what a lead is, you always think of, hey, when I get a new lead from either a referral or maybe KV Core or an open house or a sign call, what you're thinking is, how do I get this lead into a house? Or how can I get them to sell a house with me or buy a house with me? But really what your goal should be is to get them in your SOI bucket. Because if they are in your SOI bucket, they are going to be a resource in the future, referrals in the future. It could be that they bought a house from you or they sold a house from you, because obviously they're going in the SOI bucket. So everyone that you're in contact with, your goal is to get them in the SOI bucket, even if it's not a closing today. So grow that bucket, because it's the most important one. The second one he talked about was niche. And the third one was your farm. So he says all listings come from those 3 buckets. And I've always thought, well, my niche is buyers or first-time home buyers. But he narrowed it down quite a bit for like the different niches that you can have. And it was really interesting. So he's got 5 listing lead niches. And he said, if you just pick 1 or 2 niches and you get really, really good at them and study them, you'll never have to worry about business again. But if you try to do everything, it becomes much more difficult to be good at everything. And Jeff and I, we've talked about that a lot. Like, if we have, possibly something that's out of our realm, like, maybe out of the area a little bit, or a commercial property that's just kind of out of our normal, that we do, we refer that business out in most cases. So just be good at what you do and what you want to do. And these are his 5 lead niches for listings that he said that have worked super well for him and his agents over the years. One of them is pre-NODs. And this is interesting. We actually talked about NODs today in the class on title that Stephanie can get us NODs right from title and get those to you. Pre-NODs are actually homeowners that have kind of hit that 30-day mark instead of the 90-day mark, because they could possibly be opportunities for listings. Second one he said was just fantastic, was just old expireds. And that's not like expireds that are a week or two old. He said he goes back a year or 2 years or 3 years of expired homes that have never sold because they wanted to sell at some point. They put it on the market. Maybe it was on the market 6 months, that house, and it didn't sell. But now they could have more equity. They still might want to sell, but they just haven't got around to it yet or found the right time. So putting yourself in front of those old expireds is a really good way to pick up some listings that other agents aren't calling on and hammering them. And he talked a little bit about value too, of how you talk to those listing and how you create value. And actually, Jay Kinder talked about it as well. And this was really, really interesting. A lot of times we hear about commissions and you have like lower commission brokerages or whatever that are trying to sell. One thing that he said that really stuck out to me was, in the absence of value, they question your price. So if someone is questioning your commission, they aren't seeing the value. And I thought that was a really, really good point, because if you have enough value and the seller knows that you're going to sell their house for a higher net, commission never really comes up. So that's really what it is. It's just you're not quite showing enough value for them to justify what your commission is, and that's why commission comes up. So that was a really good point too. SOI, the other lead niche, probate. Said probate's a really good niche as well. And then also being a divorce specialist. So you're not going to do all of those. He said pick one or two at the most, and kind of make it your focus. And if you're an expert in it, you'll do really well. And then he had only two buyer buckets or niches. One was new construction and one was renters. So probably first-time home buyers to go after. So make it your niche. And we've done a lot of cool classes on new construction and how to promote new construction through non-MLS website sources that we can add socially. So that's a really good fit for what we do as well. So Nolly Williams, How to Thrive Over the Next 18 Months. Highly recommend that class. I really enjoyed that one too. One other point he had in there is do your 2 hours of lead generation every day. Just put on your calendar and be consistent and do it, and it'll work. Any thoughts or questions on anything so far, guys? I'm just kind of ripping through some of the classes I really enjoyed. I attended Kyle Whistle's class on how to create a sale every week. And you're probably kind of seeing a theme here. I went to a lot of real estate sales classes, just how to increase sales, because that's what our Tuesday night calls are all about. And I loved this slide. And he mentioned it's out on social media, and other people have probably seen it outside of real estate, but I've never seen it. And what you're looking at here isn't the iceberg of success. And the iceberg above the water is what people see. So when you see a successful business owner, a successful realtor, whatever, all you see is the top of the iceberg. But what you don't see is everything below the iceberg, which is like the dedication, the hard work, the sacrifice, all the failures, trying different lead sources or different, techniques to gain buyers till you find maybe your niche. And then you start to have success. But no one ever sees that. They just say, wow, you're just so successful. And look how many houses you sell. I wish I could do that. It's like, well, they don't see everything that goes into all that hard work. So I really like that analogy to just remind us that, anyone that's successful has gone through times where they've had failures and sacrifice. and some disappointments. So keep working so you can be that, that iceberg of success. Kyle also talked about his hub spokes. And I thought this was really cool because he said that all of his agents work in the same process, and they always talk about their hub spokes because you want to keep that wheel turning all the time. And the hub is KV Core. The spokes is everything that he puts in KV Core. So anytime you get lead generation, open house, SOI, it's always feeding that KV Core, and you keep the ball rolling by continually feeding it. And you mentioned, you want to study, you want to organize, role play, have a plan, and use a calendar to keep that hub and those spokes going. And he actually shared an example of his calendar, and I thought this was really, really cool. This is not what my calendar looks like. My calendar is full, but I'm not this organized. And I just looked at it and said, how cool is this? So actually, after the class, I went back and paused it, and I actually studied it a little bit because I really wanted to understand it in a little bit more depth. But if you look at like his, right at the top, you've got the purple at 8 a.m., 8:30. He's got buyer role, seller role. So he's like role playing, and he's doing like a team huddle. So he's meeting with his team for maybe 15 minutes, probably over the phone, maybe in person. And then the green you see is prospecting or appointments. And what I love about this is, and he actually explained this in the video or in the class, is notice on how many green spots only have prospecting. There's like one on the 17th, one on the 18th at 3 o'clock, one on Tuesday in the morning, one on Wednesday in the morning, Thursday in the morning, and then one on Saturday too. So really he's talking about 5 hours of prospecting per week is it. But notice he's got appointments or prospecting on other parts of his calendar. And the reason for that is if he doesn't have an appointment, that means he needs to do more prospecting. So always do prospecting every day, but if you don't have the appointments in those alternate places, then you need to do more prospecting. So get your appointments so you're not doing as much prospecting. That's kind of a cool concept. And prospecting to him wasn't just about just making cold calls. It's about everything. It's like prospecting to your past clients, your SOI, and then the buyers and the sellers that you're working with. All of it can encompass that prospecting, whatever your highest dollar of reaching out to potential clients would be. And a lot of times that is referral-based SOI. So really enjoyed this class as well. And everything's really outlined for what he does. And when I was watching, I was thinking about the freedom that we have in real estate, and also how beautiful and wonderful that is, but also what a challenge and sometimes a curse it is to have so much freedom. But successful people actually track their time and value their time, and really try to schedule what is the most important. And everything kind of comes back. It's like, it was so much good information all week, studying these different top agents. And when I say top agents, these guys sell hundreds of homes a year. We didn't have agents on there that were selling 30 or 40. I mean, when they were doing the introductions with, okay, we're going to listen to Kyle, and it's like, he sold 212 homes last year, or, it's just incredible the top producers that they have and what they do to stay organized in their business. So really great stuff. He said, track and measure everything. Keep track so you can calculate what you're doing, and treat every single client like it's your only client. Sometimes it might be your only client, but if you have 10 clients, treat them like it's your only one, and you will get referrals and business from that every time. And that's something that we always preach. You always want to do the right thing for your client at all costs, and always put yourself second. And that was really his theme as well. this was incredibly valuable to me. This is how he stays organized with everything, and everything goes into his KV core. But these are some of the action steps that he uses. So I'm actually only familiar with 3 of these. 2 of them I was familiar with before, and 1 of them I've studied since then. But Trello is kind of like a checklist, and it works really well. I've actually used it in my other business as well, and it's a really fantastic, easy to use. It's basically like a to-do list where you can move things from to do, in process, completed, and you can share it with other people on your team. It's great. He uses BombBomb, which are video, emails, and texts. And I know you guys have seen them if you haven't used them. Incredibly powerful to have video in an email, because emails don't get opened and read near as often as that little short video will do. And he says we use it on everything, and it's just magical. Like referrals, clients, prospects, friends, everybody. My biggest takeaway from Kyle on this piece was loving on clients, the client giant. And I actually spent quite a bit of time looking into Client Giant, because he said this is something that they've started implementing just recently and had amazing success with referrals from it. What Client Giant is, it's really kind of a set it and forget it for clients that you're closing on, or clients that you've closed on in the past, or somebody that's really important to you in your SOI that you work, that you want to work real estate with. But what it does is when you sign up for Client Giant, if you're not familiar with it, is they will deliver to their home, whoever you put on your list, a gift 4 times a year based on the season. And if you go to Client Giant and check it out, they do like a summer cleaning gift or a book or candles or something just kind of fun. And it's all personalized to you and your real estate business and your name that you put on there. And Client Giant is completely invisible. Like you won't see Client Giant on any of the gifts. It's all 100% from your business. And for each client that you put in there, it's basically about $100 a year to get 4 gifts sent to them. And Kyle, when he said he started using it, they put, I think he said 45 clients in the first month. And when that first gift went out, over half of the clients called him and said, thank you, which is insane, over half. And they get referrals from it, because one thing that, I personally, just one of my weaknesses has always been in real estate is being top of mind and making sure that I drip on my past clients all the time. This is really a reasonable priced way to be top of mind and give something nice to somebody. And you can do it monthly too. So like, imagine, let's say you have a closing this month and you make a really nice commission. You put them in your Client Giant, it's going to cost you $9.95 that month to put them in, and they're going to get a gift within the next couple months. And when I put my very first client in there, because I signed up for it, it actually says, okay, your gift is going to go out in 33 days. So you have 33 days to add as many clients to it, because they send them all out at the same time. So you know when that gift is going to go out, and they text you couple days before and said, hey, this is the gift that everyone's going to receive with your name on it. It's like, how cool is that? And it's just such a great way to stay in front of your clients and be top of mind, because it's all about that SOI referral. So I really enjoyed that.
Hey, Eric, I have a quick question about that. Jeff actually mentioned that yesterday, and so I looked a little bit into it. And from their site, I didn't do too much research, but so with the subscription, is that like unlimited clients per month, or how many can you send out with that subscription?
It's $9.95 per client per month.
Per client. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, because it's a physical gift that they send to them. They have one-offs as well. Like you can actually just send a gift after a closing. And they have different packages depending on how much you want to give that client. So you can actually do a one-off gift with a one-time purchase for a client you closed with, and then also put them in the top of mind program. So every quarter they get a gift.
Okay.
So Sydney, it's kind of like you help with the closing gifts for our clients, but that's a one and done type of thing, right? Was great working with you. Great transaction. Congratulations on your new home. What Eric's getting at and alluding to is you're spreading out that love a little bit more. So they're smaller gifts, but they're set in sequence for you. So you're not like having to remember, oh, we got to send out this quarter's gifts or whatever. I think it's brilliant. I think we need to look more into it. We make a lot of money when we close a transaction. It makes a little bit of sense to send just a portion of that back and thank that client, and it accomplishes that top of mind as well. But if you have it happen automatically, then you'll actually get it done. So
Yeah, we were just talking about that earlier, Jeff, how many transactions agents lose just because they're not top of mind. And actually Client Giant, I don't know where their stat is on there that they have, but when you go check it out, I think it's about this. But they said when realtors, when new buyers or sellers are polled, if they would use their realtor that they just closed their transaction on again, 92% of them say, yes, I would use that realtor again, but only 12% actually do. Because they disappear, because agents aren't good at being top of mind and doing that marketing. Not all of them, obviously, but if you are and you stand out that way, it's going to dramatically increase your business. And so much of my business comes from SOI. I mean, almost all of it. So if I was better at that, how much better would my business be? So we all need to be better at it. And I thought that was just a really brilliant tool. And Kyle says, use it. It's just awesome. And it just works because you get referrals from it. So next, I'm not going to talk about John Gordon at all because I want you guys to go watch it. If you missed this, I could not believe how awesome our keynote speaker was. He was just fantastic. I'm actually going to share this kind of with the world too, because it was not about real estate. It really wasn't. He talked about the number one predictor of success is grit. And he says, but what drives your grit? You know, what is that? And I guess you just have to watch it to find out, because I'm not going to tell you. I liked it so much. I ordered both of his books and they came 2 days ago from Amazon. So I was really, really impressed with him. And I think it's great for every friend, relative, client, everyone you know. I think it'd be awesome for teenagers, parents to listen to it and watch it with teenagers as well that might be having some struggles, because it was that powerful. It was great. So that's kind of what I had for us today. I hope that was informative and helpful. I know it's a little different than what we usually do on a specific topic. One other thing I wanted to share with you too, I didn't go to this class, but Kim, can you see my screen? Can you see Becoming a Master? Perfect. So Kim went to a class. I don't even know which one she went to, but she shared this with me. And this is just one of our EXP agents that has some material that he just gave to everybody that attended the class. So I'm not sure which one it was, but there was 2 handouts. One was Becoming a Master of Virtual Real Estate. And this was, I read through this. This is so awesome. Like right here, the very first line, real estate has always been a game of survival of the fittest. It's a tough industry. NAR reports that 87% of real estate agents fail and quit within their first 5 years. COVID makes things even more challenging. And this kind of goes into how to become a master at virtual sales. And when I saw this from Kim, it just reminded me of how cool it is to be a part of EXP, because he's in New York, and he's sharing something that he put together on how to get through some of our difficult times right now, how to do an incredible open house that gets you leads. And this is just fantastic material. I'll upload this in Workplace too, but he shared it with everybody that was at that class. So thank you, Kim. I think I saw Kim was on here today, but she sent this off to me. But this is like 42 pages of different things you can do, checklists of open houses, and also how to sell during this interesting time that we're in right now. So if anybody wants this, yeah, let me know. So I didn't attend this class, unfortunately, but I did go through this material, and it's such good information and great detail. And like I said, it just kind of reminds me of how great it is to be a part of a conglomerate of agents all over the country that help us out. It was neat. So.
Did you say you're going to upload that into Workplace, Eric?
Yeah, I'll put both of them in Workplace. Yeah. There's one on open houses, the virtual open houses, and then also virtual, how to sell using virtual tours. So really good stuff. And
cool. And then obviously Shantae and Troy and Nate, those that aren't in Workplace yet, probably get it to them by email, eh?
Yep, I'll do that. I'll send that out to you guys for sure. So what time is it? 46 minutes. See, I didn't know how long I was going to be because I didn't have like a specific topic. So
I think that was perfect, Eric. I just want to make a couple of comments. What you just went over were highlights, right? It was a highlight reel.
Highlight.
And so I compare that to book summaries versus reading the whole book. I mean, a book summary kind of gives you the points of what the author intended, but when you read the full-length version, you get more of the context. So I posted a link in the chat to where they are uploading the recordings for our classes. So make note of these classes and go back and get the context that made these points, because that's where you really internalize them. A couple of things that you said, Eric, that we all need to really concentrate is on the niches, but then combining that with the other lesson of the iceberg, right? I think people jump from niche to niche. I've seen it a lot. Mm-hmm. And the one thing under the iceberg there that people really don't see that I related to is persistence. So as an example, when I first got my license, I picked one buyer lead and one seller lead. I went after short sales for listings, and I worked with investors for buyers. That's it. I picked one and I just stuck with it. And I got a lot of blowback at the start. It's like, oh, you know, there's no numbers, there's no results. So we're spending all this time and effort on here. Maybe we should try something else. But that persistence was the key, because it not only developed into a good transactional business, but all of those people fed into my SOI like you started with, Eric. I built my SOI from people I already knew, but it continued to grow from my transactions. You invest into people that turn into transactions and turn into SOI for referrals. And so I really loved that right there. And then one of the other things that you said was to treat every client, or one of the points you made from the class, treat every client like they're your only ones. And I would change that a little bit and keep top of mind to make every client feel like they're your only client. So you can feel like you're treating them like, you know, like you're spending a lot of time on our, but when you have a client, thank you for your time and wonder how you can invest so much in them and how do you keep it all straight, assuming that they're your only client. That's the objective goal. When they feel like you treated them so well, you must not have anything else to do. That's kind of the objective I shoot for.
I love that. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's what I was trying to kind of do, is give everyone kind of a little feel of what I enjoyed, because there were so many different classes, you couldn't go to all of them. But on EXP Shareholder Summit, if you scroll down, obviously we've got the schedule, but if you click on watch breakouts here, it takes you to the YouTube channel now, and they've uploaded a ton of these classes, maybe even all of them. And all you have to do is just, so when you're on the YouTube channel, just click on EXP Shareholder Summit 2020. And all the way down here on the right, it looks like we've got 29. So obviously they don't have all the breakout sessions on here, but some of them were combined too. Like they would run them like 2 or 3 in an hour-and-a-half time period. But yeah, a lot of these classes that I took notes on are in here. So they have all the different tracks and everything. So just awesome material. It's so funny because I'm still on my old brokerage's email list. Like I said that before, but since COVID started, they've done 4 live online classes. And I'm like, we do like 4 every hour. It's awesome, all the material that we have. So I'd say go through this list and just see what jumps out at you. I wish I could have seen them all, and I'm going to go back and go through a lot of them because I really focused on the real estate side of them. But I want to go through, like, I didn't do any of the icons, Jeff. And this is all the top agents on how to become, sell at least 30, 40 homes a year minimum. And I focused on the sales. And I didn't do any of the expansion or growth classes. So I need to go back and watch all of those as well. But awesome stuff.
The icons are the ones I'm going to go back and watch as well. I concentrated a lot on the growth classes. So that's more of our Friday topic. But I love listening to the icons. When you get the backstory of where they started, where they came from, you're plugging your own situation in there somewhere, right? You're either brand new, like they were brand new, and then they tell what they did that worked and what they didn't work. I love listening to them because it's relatable, and everybody talks about where they wasted time, what they wish they wouldn't have done. If they could start over, what would they do first? It's beautiful. It's gold. It's when you get all that experience from somebody else. That's why I love books so much, is because for $19, I can get 20 years experience that somebody's whittled down into all the nuggets. It's beautiful. So everybody should go back to those icons, learn from the other agents. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. Do what you resonate with and find those agents that have the similar personality to you. And that's why they're successful. They're doing them. They're doing what is most in line with their natural personality anyway. And that's what makes them successful. You can only fight against the grain for so long and do what somebody's doing that isn't part of your natural state because they're successful, but they have a totally different personality. So pay attention to that when you're listening to successful agents. You might come to the realizations like, I could never do that. I don't care if they sell 500 homes a year. That doesn't relate to me. So as soon as you guys find one that relates to you and you can say, oh my God, that's my natural state right there, you're going to kill it.
Love that too, because that's a lot of mindset too. Finding your happy place in real estate and life. And I wasn't going to talk about John Gordon, but that's one thing that he mentioned too, is a lot of mindset and why successful people are successful. And one nugget that I'll give you from that from John's class there was, he said, we all have that voice in the back of our head, right? We always have the voice beating on us all the time. He says, you have 2 choices with that voice. You can listen to what it's saying and what it's telling you, which is usually negative, unfortunately, or you can talk to it and tell it what to think, because the voice will listen to you if you talk to it. I was like, wow, that is so cool. So if you are constantly feeling yourself and telling your internal thoughts what to think and what to produce, you're going to naturally want to be positive. But if you just let that inner voice fill you with negatives or doubts, or, I'm not going to call that guy, he probably sold his house already, right? Or, they probably know someone that has a realtor anyway. So it just, all those, if you listen to those negative thoughts, it's going to do you zero good. So I love the mindset stuff. It's something we don't talk about enough, Jeff, I think is kind of that mindset, which is really kind of the basis below the nuts and bolts, right? Staying in that positive frame. So we've just got such positive, happy people all around us, and on our team, that we don't think about it that much. But it's good to focus on those uplifting things. Thanks, everybody. Anybody have any thoughts? Glad you could make it.
No,
Thank
Did
you.
you try and say something there, Brenton? You cut out.
oh, sorry about that. No, I'm just stoked about those ebooks that who was it, Sherry brought you? I can't remember, but I'm looking forward to that one online, because I'm working on the social media stuff right now, so that's going to be really beneficial. I'll grind into that as soon as it pops up.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'll load those up and I'll send them out to everybody too. So
Yeah, appreciate it.
yeah, of course. Well,
Thank you. It was great.
we really appreciate all you guys so much. If you were on the call earlier today with Brenton and DL and everybody, you probably would have been overwhelmed. We're just so grateful and thankful for everybody. So let us know if you ever need anything or have any questions. We're here to help. Good to see you, Sydney. I haven't seen you in too long.
I know, it's nice to turn on the video camera. It's like we're hanging out.
Yeah. Oh, also, don't forget, we have the EXP overview tomorrow, 1:30 Mountain Time, if anyone wants to jump on or has somebody who wants to check out EXP. And then Friday is Freedom Friday, which is noon Mountain Time, and that's in the Marchant Suite inside the World. So feel free to jump on that as well. And remember, that has the password Marchant1, all lowercase. And I'll send out a reminder for that too.
Eric, you mentioned the conversation with DL and Brenton and some of them today, and some of these guys don't know what we're talking about, but Eric and I are committed to jump on Zoom every Tuesday and Wednesday at 1:30 to do an overview of EXP. That's just kind of the schedule we've created for you guys to plug into. And we didn't have a new person today. Lynn had somebody lined up and they had to reschedule, but those of us that were on the call, we were already on the call, and sometimes it turns into some pretty good discussion. And today was one of those. So you guys feel free, even if you just want to eavesdrop, if you want to listen to the overview again, or literally take advantage of the fact that you've got some really great agents on the call. And if we're not actually doing the overview, we're gonna mastermind, we're gonna brainstorm, we're gonna see what you want to talk about, and those turn into some pretty good meetings. So tomorrow at 1:30, we actually do have a new person. One of my newer agents, Steve Nosak, some of you might know him. He's got somebody that works with him, used to work with him at Equity, that's excited to learn more about EXP. So it looks like we will be having an official overview tomorrow. If you want to come, feel free. If you want to take tonight and tomorrow and invite one of your friends, do that as well. So
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate you guys.
Talk to y'all soon.
Have a great night.
See ya.
See ya.